back to Tory Bash Takeover. This is Dr. Hacks, and this is my video from a question asked by Jacob O'Neill, who asked me to call him Savage. It's also a video for the fact that I have 1,000 subscribers, which is really, really cool. So thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. I hope we can hit other milestones soon. The question from Savage is, "Hey Dr. Hacks, I'm a second degree black belt, and I want to know, when should I play passively versus aggressive? And can you talk a little bit about the thought process between going passive and going aggressive?" And that's a really good question. So I'm going to touch on a couple of kind of concepts when it comes to aggressive versus passive, and when you should do one over the other, and its mod variant. And I'm also going to talk about who you should be playing, because I've done it before, and I just want to reiterate something, because I want to kind of amend something I've said in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some replays, and I took some risks. This one's not a good one. I took some risks in various mods, because it's something I've been pushing myself to do lately. And from that risk comes a reward, because I get to learn a little bit more about what I'm capable of, potential, what I'm not capable of, limits. So potential and limits, that's really what risk is all about. And points. Because I have to say, it really depends on what you're shooting for. If you're shooting to win, and you have 20,000 more points than the opponent, it makes the world of sense to almost always play defensive after that point. If you're losing by 20,000, clearly you have to go balls to the walls aggressive. But that's for if you're trying to win. If you're trying to get better as a player, if you're trying to improve your skill, increase your capabilities, then it's a little more complicated than that. So we're going to go into this match here. I kind of do an improv opener, don't get a lot of points. Right there. Step one. This is risky, because I have my head in a place where I can't protect it. And it's he can easily come around here, maybe raise the shoulder, contract the pec, do some fancy hip work. He might have to be on a time disqualification by putting his knee to the ground for a little bit, but he can swing his arm in a position that hurts. Okay? Here we are again. Again, I'm not in a very comfortable zone, but regardless of that, I'm going to continue to stay aggressive on him. At this point, if I were trying to win, I would be highly defensive because of the match frames and because of my lead. If I'm defensive and I score 2,000 for every 5,000 points he scores, then I'm going to be in the clear. I can make those 2,000 for 5,000 trades, but instead, look what I do. Instead, I'm headed balls to the wall, head first for this guy. Okay? Now I'm even contracting my knee. At this point, I am at risk for disqualifying. At this point, I have definitely won if I just get the hell out of there while protecting my head. Is that what I do? No, it is not. At this point, I should be just worrying about my own safety, but I don't. I go in, and at this point, I should be worried about my own safety, but I don't. I'm going for strikes. Now, 30 frames to go. Most people would be worried about disqualifying. Look how close I am to the outer dojo. Look how close I am to the ground. Look at the fact that my elbow is contracted. Look at where my hip is extended towards and where my forward momentum is going. Do I? No. I go for another hit. Why did I do all that? I did it because I had to take risks. And I did it not because I had to take risks because I thought I was going to lose, but because who I was playing. This user isn't very good. He's not a good player. Or at least he wasn't of huge competition to me. That's not to insult the user. I use that knowledge to my advantage. If a player is worse than me, or by a reasonable degree in that mod, that is the opportunity for me to take additional risks. When your risks pay off, like they did in this game, you have now learned new potential. You have now learned more capability of your own plays. And when you're in a similar situation, you'll know what you can do. If the risk didn't pay off and I had disqualified, I would have learned a new limit. I would have learned what not to try next time. That is the benefit of risk versus reward. That is the benefit of going aggression. Let's pull up another replay. Okay. So this is against Baker, whatever, however you pronounce his name. Russian player. I think he's in the top 10 of Lenchung players in terms of ranking. Go for the defensive opener. Then I kind of do... I get here, and it's easy enough to kind of contract my hip and just get the easy points. But instead, I want to do something cool. So I kind of go for a helicopter. Even though it brought me low to the ground. It paid off because I kicked him really far away. At this point, I would be playing pretty defensive. Because look at the points, look at the engage distance, look at the time. However, I choose to go aggressive. Why? Because I'm trying to learn from this experience. But secondly, because I want to be disruptive. So look, is that a safe thing to do? Hell no. Look how close I am to the ground. Look at all my different, all the joints. But I'm performing a comeback. I'm doing something a little special, a little different anyways. Primarily because I'm trying to learn from the experience. And hyper-aggression is incredibly disruptive. Now here's another game. Do a little helicopter. Didn't pay off. I'm doing a comeback. Head first. Rushing towards him. My gut says I should just hit him a little bit and box him out. But you know what I'm doing instead? I hyper-aggress. I stick on him like white on rice, because if I stay on him, I'm disruptive of his setups. You become disruptive of your setups when you stay on the target. And maybe I can illustrate that again with this game. Since I'm constantly attacking Zachnik in this game, he never gets the chance to set up. There's no cold reset. Even when he's like running away, I'm chasing him. I'm up like 30,000 points at some parts of this game, but I'm still chasing him. Like right here, attack again. Okay? I'm moving towards him so I can attack it again. I didn't have a great strike on him, but I didn't need to. Attack again. I miss, but attack again. As soon as I can, I'm going for even more attacking. I do all of that, not because it's cool, not because I want to embarrass him. I'm doing that because if I stick on him like white on rice, like if you play Killer 3366 in a Wushu game, or an RKMMA game, by being hyper-aggressive, you stay disruptive, and thus he never gets the chance to set up, which is really good if you're winning, because if you're winning and he never gets the chance to set up, he'll never score a huge amount of points. Alright, in this game is a great example, okay? As a player who wants to win, this would be the time to essentially hold all. Hold all and basically tripod, and this game is yours. He's not going to score 30,000 points on you in 230 frames if you can avoid being brain dead. But instead, I'm staying aggressive. I know I want to learn more about my limits, right? So I'm attacking him. I send another attack. Look at the hyper-aggressive nature of this. This isn't safe. I'm leading head first. But because I chased after him, because I kept with him the entire game, not only do I have a more impressive score, not only is the difference larger, but look at what I did. The forward momentum threw his ass out of the dojo. Watch the whole replay within its entirety rather than as its parts now. I'm staying on him. Even my head hit the ground. It was a time DQ. I kept touching him, kept disrupting him. I even followed him to basically outside the dojo. I followed him to the point where if the frames kept going, I would have eventually ended up in the dojo based off of out of the dojo based off of my momentum. But I kept on him, I kept staying disruptive, and not only does that prevent him from making big plays, but it teaches me more about the game. Hyper-aggression is the key to being disruptive. And hyper-aggression can lose you matches when you do it poorly. And hyper-aggression adds risk to the game from time to time, because if you're chasing after a guy, it's a lot easier to defend than it is to attack. Because If you're being chased, you know exactly where he has to be because you're the one controlling the movement as the defender. You're controlling the movement as the defender. You know where I am going to be, and you get the choice of how you want to strike me. So there's that risk reward, and the whole point is you're not going to be able to get to play. You're not going to be able to get to play guys like Schmevin, Rookie, uh, you name it, Fatal Brown. You're not going to be able to play them every time you play ABD. You're not going to be able to play guys like Begotten and Snudge in Wushu every time you play Wushu. There's going to be times where you play less quality opponents. There's going to be times where you play brown white belts, You're going to be a 10th degree black belt playing a white belt. The most you can hope for in those experiences is that you can teach yourself something if he can't teach you anything. Rather than wasting the opportunity, belittling the opponent, and doing the bare minimum to win, this is probably the time where you should take the most risk. If you'll recall from what I talked about with Tory Legends and my interview with Nuthug, he said because I was much better than my opponents back in the old days, he had the opportunity to be innovative, learn, be creative, and thus get a better understanding of what his capabilities and potential was. With a similar premise, if you're ever at a time where you're playing people of less skill level, this is the time where you can really achieve some sort of uniqueness. If you lose, but moving forward, moving onward, you don't have to worry so much because you've now learned more of your limits. You've learned what you can't do, and you've learned some of the ludicrously cool things that you can do, which also end up making you score a hell of a lot of points. And this has been exemplified to me by a great player named Tiaikux, also Russian for Psycho, apparently. Great player, I believe has won the most in-game tournaments of any other player. If you check him, he's like in the Hall of Fame for that sort of stuff. Huge amount of games played. Clan League winner for Clan League number 3. And I was watching him play Quick Wushu just maybe 4 days ago. And he's playing a green belt or like a brown belt, a blue belt. He's playing a low-ass belt. Like a really, really new player. The player is flopping around. It's like 5,000 to 90,000. And Tiaikux goes in for this hyper-aggressive, completely upside-down sort of punch. And he disqualifies. And he's like, shit. And he said, GG to the guy. And I asked him, why the hell did you just do that? You were up 96 or whatever thousand points. He was a green belt. You knew he was never going to win, da-da-da-da-da. And he said, well, because I'm practicing. For Clan League, I want to be a great player. And I need to get in good form. And I'm not going to do that if I don't take risks and learn what I can and can't do again. So here's a guy who's winning by more points than holy hell, and he still let himself disqualify in Wushu to a complete guy probably installed the game that day. And that guy can go on and say he beat Tiaikux, but he learned valuable information from it. He didn't take into consideration what his rank was in the mod. He didn't take into consideration that he was going to lose and have some sort of beef with that and hurt his esteem. He knows who he is. But because of that, he learned something new, and he's going to take that information when he has to play someone really good. And like when he goes on to play a guy like Lays, who's just an unbelievable multiplayer and single player. He's going to use the information of when he got disqualified by a green belt, and he might use it to beat one of the best players in the game. So I hope I answered your question about aggressiveness. Like I said, it completely depends on whether or not you're playing to win or playing to get better. I know you said in reference to Aikido, but I'm telling you in basically every mod, this is how it kind of works. This is risk versus reward, learning your capabilities, and learning your different learning opportunities. Because you won't learn unless you push yourself. And I mean, it's been a long time since I recently started pushing myself again because I wanted to get better again. If you found that contradictory to any past information, I'm sorry, but, opinions change over time. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's really cool that we hit 1,000 subscribers. I hope we hit another 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Who knows what this can grow to. I really appreciate all of the support I get. I really do my best to try to give out as good information as I possibly can for you guys, but I always can improve, so leave comments down below if you have any comments. about this episode, this video, any questions, whatever. If you have any good questions for me, ask it on the official Tory Bash Takeover Q&A thread, which you can find in the Entertainment and Media board on the forum.torybash.com. Subscribe to my channel, and let's make sure Tory Bash takes over.